Hey guys, what is up? It is Final Hour here. Welcome to another one of my videos. In this video, I'm just going to explain to you guys the shells and which shells I think are actually really strong in Arena gaming and which shells I think that the developers need to work on because they're not essentially viable in Arena right now. So, first things first, I'm going to explain seriously the best shells that are in the game right now that work like they're just amazing. So here we go. Okay, so first things first, I just want to say is these three, Blaze, AETHER, Discharge, and Shockwave, are probably the best shells in the game right now. Blaze, what it does is it deals 5 damage to any enemy champion in the game. And if you look at the base healths of each of these champions, like Bloody Mary has a 6 base health, Crank has a 7 base health, the Butcher has a 7 base health, Harlequin has a 5 base health, Bug has a 5 base health, and Aurora has a 7 base health. The spell Blaze can pretty much one hit any champion in the game. I mean, all you have to do is just hit someone for a majority of these champions, like Crank and the Butcher both have 7 health. But if you just hit them once and then you use Blaze, they're automatically dead, and it puts them in that I can't even say it right now, spawn trap cycle. So that way they can't really do much once you put them in that spawn trap cycle because they have to waste their turn spawning someone. So it's a really good spell overall. The cost is pretty hefty at 7 energy, but overall I think this is one of the better shells in the game. Aether Discharge is also an amazing spell just because, sure, it's a high cost in terms of energy, but you deal pretty much true damage to the ship. You do 3 damage to the enemy ship, and there's pretty much nothing your opponent can do to counter this. And so all you have to do is wait a couple of turns, and then you automatically do 3 damage to the ship. And since right now the base health of your ship is only 15, there you go. 1/5 of your ship's health is gone just by using 8 energy of your ship's energy. So I think that's an amazing shell. And then also Shockwave. Oh my god, I've trolled so many people with this shell. Pretty much it just knocks people back to whatever your champion's at. So let's say if your champion's like close to the edge but not on the edge, but your opponent is on the edge, if you use this shell, it automatically knocks them off the map. And let's say if your opponent has like multiple people on the edge, then if you use this shell, then it knocks back 2 people off the edge, and then it puts them in a very vicious spawn cycle, and that way they can't really do much on the map because they're stuck spawning people, and then you could just run up to their base and just kick their ass pretty much essentially. So yeah, Shockwave I think is probably I don't want to say it's the best, but it's a very viable tool and it's something you should really look at because it only costs 5 energy and it really just controls the map, and you can't really stand on the ledges because you'll just get knocked off of them and die and then get put in the spawn trap. So yeah, Shockwave is a really good one. So Blaze, Aether, Discharge, Shockwave are probably tier 1, I could say. Another one I think is really good is Bait and Switch. And the reason why is because if you're put out of position somewhere on the map, or let's say your opponent's just being an asshole and just playing defensive, then you could pretty much use Bait and Switch and switch 2 people around and put yourself at the opponent's base and just kill them. This is really good for a champion like Harlequin because I think Harlequin, or I can't even say, I don't even know what the pronunciation of his name is, but I'm just going to say Harlequin. He just does so much damage. He can do like 3 damage per hit, which I think is the highest damage in the game right now. So yeah, Harlequin, if you use Bait and Switch with him, it's a really good tactic and could do tons of damage to the opponent's ship. So let's say, let's give you an example. Let's say if they just have a Bloody Mary at their base and she's just standing in the back lines, waiting for her energy to charge, and she's like hitting your ship from a long ways away. You can use Bait and Switch with the Harlequin, and then you can like do 3 damage instantly to their ship, and then they have to react to that Harlequin because they can't leave him alone. If they leave him alone, your base is just going to be gone, your ship's going to fall, and you're going to die. So Bait and Switch is good for certain champions, like champions that can do a lot of damage, or if you're just caught out of position, Bait and Switch is really good. So yeah, the other ones I'm not really sure about, like Chaos. Chaos is only good if, let's say you're losing and you only have like 1 person on the map and it's that turn where you're using that person. Now I guess I could see this as being okay because, then it does more damage to your opponent than to yourself. But if both of you and your opponent have 3 people on the map, I'm not so sure that you want to use Chaos unless all of your opponent is rather low. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a risky shell, and you don't want to play extremely risky in Clash of Champions. You want to play tactically. Scorching is okay. It's a lower cost, but then again, once again, 2 out of the 6 champions right now have a base health of 5, so this is, it's okay. It does have a lower cost, but you just have to wait a little bit longer, then you can one-shot a champion. Light him up is okay, deals 3 damage to all enemy champions, which is good. It does a lot of damage, but then you have to wait until pretty much late game with 10 charged, what is it called? I'm blanking on the name, I'm so stupid. 10 charged ship, and it just overall, you can't wait that long in Arena. Like, the games end in about 10 minutes or so, and to use all 10 of your charge, like 10 charges on just dealing 3 damage to each of your enemy, that's too high of a risk. This shell completely outclasses that. You're like doing 3 damage automatically to a ship, no questions asked, with only 8 energy charge is amazing, and it can win you a lot of games. So yeah, the shells that I think that the Arena developers have to look at are Earthing. Earthing's not too good. Giving removing all AETHER from a champion, not a big deal. The reason why is because like the ultimates of each of the champions aren't too good. Like their regular attacks are good enough to beat your opponent. So yeah, Earthing needs some work, and probably some champions with their ultimates need some work too. That's just my honest opinion. I don't know. It just seems like their ultimates are underwhelming. So yeah, Ready to Blow. This, once again, not too good because the ultimates are not as good as, when you spend 5 energy, you think like you're going to do like 4 or 5 damage. But the ultimates are just, meh. It never gets to that point where all of your champions have an ultimate and can use it, because either your opponent's cheesing you, or your ship is at 0, or your opponent's ship is at 0. So Ready to Blow, not too good. I already explained some of these. Healing, I mean, the cost is low, but once again, it's just not a good, it's not a good shell. If you want a shell that can completely change the outcome of the game, and I just don't think healing and full comeback can do that. Sure, their costs are low, but then again, it's like it doesn't give you that much. It just gives you a little bit of health, which is pretty much nothing in Arena Clash of Champions. So yeah, the couple shells I would really like the developers to look at are Healing and Full Comeback, as well as Earthing and Ready to Blow, and they'll probably get better as time goes on while the developers work on the game. And yeah, because just the ultimates right now seem a little bit underwhelming. The health of the ship seems a little bit underwhelming. I think they need to buff it a little bit higher to like 20 or 22. That way some shells like Earthing, Ready to Blow, Healing, and Full Comeback can shine a little bit better. They do need a little bit of buffs too. That's just my own personal opinion. I don't know what the developer's going to say about that, but yeah, that's just my own personal opinion. But right now, the overpowered ones clearly are Blaze, because it could just one-shot a champion. AETHER Discharge, just 3 damage to a ship, and you only have 15 health. That's ridiculous. And as well as Bait and Switch and Shockwave. For Shockwave, you can't even stand on a ledge or next to a pillar, because you'll just get wrecked. So yeah, that's it. This has been Final Hour. I hope you guys enjoyed my video about shells. And yeah, Kyle should make the next video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.